on Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies to go along with mild temperatures. We'll see an afternoon high around 68. Tonight, partly cloudy skies expected with an overnight low around 44. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies and more mild temperatures with an afternoon high again around 68.
All right, welcome everybody.
Outlook for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Cover more acres with a pre-owned sprayer or planter from Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer. We offer one of the area's largest selections of used sprayers, applicators, planters, and seeders. Through the month of March, take advantage of fixed-rate financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver. Visit your local Landmark Implement location or view our complete sprayer and seeding inventory online at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
NEBCO is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. NEBCO offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From NEBCO's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
This is Adam Carriker on the ticket.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, welcome everybody to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on this fine Thursday. I hope you're having a great week so far. Hope you have a strong, phenomenal finish to the week going into this Easter weekend as well. So I got a special guest with me right before I bring him on. The back half of this program will be the Big Ten Show, where I'm going to give my thoughts on Caitlin Clark, the pluses, the minuses to her actions. Do I understand? Do I not? Do I disagree? Do I not agree? There's a little bit of everything in there. But trust me, hopefully you'll find it somewhat un poquito entertaining and enlightening, maybe just a little bit. And then we talk about the NCAA tournament, the 16 teams that are left. I go through and I rank them 16 to 1 and break down a couple of the Big Ten teams and some of the other teams, including Creighton, in the tournament, just a little bit more in depth as well. All right, start off today. I want to talk about the guest that is joining me today. I appreciate his time. He's a multi-time All-American wrestler for the University of Nebraska. He's got a heck of a story. I'm going to ask him about his wrestling career, about, fighting back, making a comeback, which was pretty impressive and awe-inspiring to watch. He was diagnosed, and correct me, his name's Peyton Robb. Peyton, correct me if I say this wrong. Necrotizing fasciitis, which is a rare skin infection that causes skin and tissues and muscles tissues to die. Easy for me to say, but you've battled back. You finished 7th at nationals this past year, finished a strong First of all, thank you for joining me today, my friend. How you doing?
Yeah, of course. I'm good. And yeah, you got the pronunciation right on that, at least as far as I know.
Well, you're going to know more about that than I would. So real quick, I want to kind of go backwards before we go forwards. When did you first notice something with your leg? Clearly something was bothering you, something alerted you. When did you first notice that?
So last year at NCAA's, I remember seeing like like a welt like that big-ish on my shin, and I remember seeing it between the quarterfinals and semifinals of last year's tournament. And I just remember talking. I was starting to warm up with Mikey Labriola, our 74-pounder, and I remember pointing it out to him and saying, "Dang, that kind of hurts." But I didn't really make a big deal out of it because it just was looked like a bruise to me.
So, when did you find out exactly what it was? And I got to imagine that was a challenging thing to hear. How hard was it to find out you'd been diagnosed with something like that?
Yeah, so I didn't find out. Well, initially, I found out that it was strep cellulitis while I was in Oklahoma at nationals last year, and then a couple days later, going into I went into the hospital in Nebraska the day that we got back from nationals, and then a couple days later, that's when they told me that it had like morphed into necrotizing fasciitis, and yeah, it was a scary situation, and it was kind of in a blur the whole time during that, just as far as getting a bunch of medicine and all that to try to get my vitals figured out at the time. So I was kind of all over the place in my head, but I knew that I had the right people around me, so I tried not to let it get to me too much in the moment.
I'm joined today by Peyton Robb, multi-time All-American wrestler. We're talking about his story a little bit. All right. Now, your immediate reaction, I'm curious. Did you immediately think about, I'm going to come back and I'm going to wrestle? Was wrestling the furthest thing from your mind at that point? What were the thoughts going through your head immediately?
Immediately it was getting through this, and then yeah, like right after that, I was thinking about wrestling, like especially right before going into the first surgery, like whether I would have the bottom half of my leg or not. Like I was running through my mind of what am I going to do if I don't? Am I going to be able to wrestle? Which I know sounds crazy, like when you're thinking about losing part of your body, but I've been in wrestling. It's all I've known since I've been 4 years old. So it's like, am I going to be able to do that? Like, that's a big part of my life. And then, so I tried to stay on a positive note in my head and just think, all right, just take this as it comes. Don't get ahead of yourself. So there's no point in putting that bad energy out there.
I completely get it. I think that's completely understandable. Obviously, wrestling is a major part of your life. So I think that's completely understandable. Because ultimately you've come back, you've wrestled, you've competed again at an incredibly high level. What was that journey back like from the moment you found out? Okay, I put out pictures on social media what your leg looked like at one point. What was that journey back like from that moment to competing at a high level again?
Yeah, it was tough. I mean, it was a quick turnaround as far as the timetable, but like the amount of work that I put in like rehab and in recovery and all those situations was a lot of work. I was doing rehab, lifting, and wrestling, probably multiple rehabs a day, all 3 or 4 like workouts in a day, just to be able to like get back to the level that I was at, and also doing like testing at our facilities at the stadium to see where like my power of my leg is at. So just like a lot of work went into getting back. And so it felt good to get back. It did feel weird at first, just getting back on the mat. Like you almost don't trust yourself a little bit when you take some time off. You don't trust, and in that situation, like how well do I trust my leg and how it's going to hold up? And so it was definitely a learning curve for a little bit. But eventually I kind of got to that state where I was confident in the work that I'd put in and how my body would hold up.
it's interesting because, and this is your story, it's not mine, but I've had a bunch of knee surgeries, and I would find myself just like walking up the stairs, testing that knee just a little bit more. And then Adrian Peterson had a major knee surgery at one point in his career, and I heard him talk about how he was pushing a cart in a grocery store. He'd go around the corner, he'd kind of push off a little bit extra going around the corner of the grocery store with the cart. So I completely get that. Talk about this season specifically. Okay, because you competed at a high level, but I have to assume that there are a little bit more challenges as this, you started out in the season, but then probably got more comfortable as it went along, I would assume.
Yeah, so started off pretty good. I mean, we had the easier part of our schedule earlier in the season, and then later on you get into the Big Ten season. Had a good Cliff Keen invite, which is a big tournament in the middle of the year. Won that one, and then going into the end of our non-conference and then the beginning of our conference schedule, I started on a little bit of a losing streak. I lost 4 in a row, and that might be the only time I've ever done that I can think of. And so that was kind of like another mental barrier to push through. And then just kind of getting to the end of the season, kind of got things started rolling again. And looked to finish strong at the NCAA tournament. I was hoping to get a little bit higher place, even towards the top, but I can be proud of myself and how far I've come from the end of the season last year to this year, and so I'm proud of my journey and my success through previous years and through this year.
Dude, I think you have every right to feel that way. When you were talking about it earlier, talk about possibly losing a body part. Now you're competing at nationals in wrestling. So to me, that's something to be proud of. Won your last match, finished in 7th place, which is really good considering the whole story and really good in general. Talk to me about that feeling. Now that the last match is over, you won it, your career is complete. I mean, there has to be a feeling of being proud, satisfaction. I mean, just how you feeling in general, though.
Yeah, I feel good. I plan to stick around the sport of wrestling and compete at the senior level freestyle for a little bit. Hopefully get into coaching eventually. So it feels different to be done with college wrestling, but I know I'll be around the sport, and so I can take comfort in knowing that. But yeah, it did feel good to walk off the mat with a win for my last college match, especially against a guy that I've been competing against, that guy that I wrestled in the 7th place match since elementary school. I mean, he's a North Dakota guy, and we'd always be at all the regional tournaments because I'm Minnesota, and I've wrestled him probably 30 times in my life.
That's awesome.
So it was kind of a crazy way to go out. I was talking with him after. He was like, of course it's got to be us two wrestling in both of our final matches of our college careers.
That's cool. One of those lifelong rivalries. That's very cool. So how's it feel now at this point in time as we're chatting here at this moment?
It's good. I don't really have too much of a difference in it anymore. When I was going through, before I even was able to step on the mat, my trainer made sure that I tested better in power and endurance in my left leg, which is the one that had the infection. They made sure that it tested better in my left leg than my right leg. And so it was pretty much back to normal. Sometimes it gets a little bit more tightness and maybe a little bit more fatigue, but other than that, it's not too bad.
Talk to me about the team performance as a whole. 5 All-Americans this year, the 9th top 10 finish in the past 10 years. That's pretty good. And I got to ask this question too. It's a 2-part question, and the second part is not a loaded part. It's a genuine curiosity that I have. First of all, talk to me about that team performance, because that's pretty impressive to me. And then the other part is, do you feel like wrestling should maybe get a little bit more coverage? It doesn't get maybe the coverage it should.
So first part, I love the team that I've been on, and I think we always feed off of each other, especially at tournaments and in big tournaments like NCAAs. Once we kind of get on a roll, it seems like everybody follows. And 5 All-Americans, which was the second most for any team at NCAA, is pretty dang impressive. With a shot at 7 All-Americans because we had 2 more in the blood round that didn't end up winning those matches. But that would have been the most in Nebraska history for wrestling. If I can't remember if we've gotten 6 before, but if we had gotten 7 for sure, maybe 6, then it would have been the most that Nebraska's had in 1 year All-American. So that was a pretty special year. I felt like we had a complete lineup that was really solid top to bottom. So that was really cool. And then as far as getting coverage, I think it depends on, I know it's tough just because what do people want to see? I think it's about growing the interest in wrestling, and then thinking about coverage of it, because that's what we got to get. Like, you can throw wrestling out on the screen as much as you want, but if people don't want to watch it, then they're not going to look at it. So I think it's about growing the understanding of wrestling a little bit more with the general population.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. This is an related question, because I grew up Hogan, Warrior, Austin, Rock. Now the Rock is back. WrestleMania is like a week and a half away. All right. Any chance at the WWE in your future in any way? He's already shaking his head no before I finish the question. Go ahead. No chance at all?
No, I've never really been into it, to be honest. I know people are, and people can watch whatever they want. Like I said, I never was really into it, and I know it's like no harm intended, but like the association between wrestling and WWE kind of irks me sometimes. I'm like, yeah, it's not the same thing. But a lot of people get just random people get the misconception that it's the same. I know that you don't know that, or that you're.
I'm aware. Yeah.
That. Yeah, you know.
Very different.
But no chance for me in WWE.
So here's how different it is. Way back in the day, like 8 or 9 years ago, because that's way back in the day for me. I actually got an offer from WWE, and one of my first things was, I've never wrestled. I've never wrestled a day in my life. My exact words were, my wrestling experience is getting the smackdown laid on me by my kids in the living room, and they started laughing. And so obviously, this is not a shot at anything or anyone. It's very different what they do. Their response was, good. You don't have any bad habits. Obviously, what you do is very different than what they do. And if you've already been trained one way, obviously there's exceptions, Kurt Angle, etc. It may be harder to actually learn what they do, which, as you said, is very different than what they do. So that's how different it is. They actually liked that I had no clue how to freaking wrestle.
That's fair. Kind of a fresh start.
Yep.
Blank slate.
Yeah. They said, as long as you can flap your gums, which I don't know how well I do it, but I do it a lot. That's all they really cared about. So, all right, man, I want to congrats on a great career. Thank you for taking the time to join me, and best of luck in the future, man.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Spring is a time of new beginnings and trying new things. If you haven't tried Fuhrer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For parties for St. Patrick's Day and Easter, or celebrating the NCAA tournament with friends, there's no better dip to bring everyone together and celebrate something from Nebraska. Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fuhrer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies to go along with mild temperatures. We'll see an afternoon high around 68. Tonight, partly cloudy skies expected with an overnight low around 44. And tomorrow, we'll see partly sunny skies and more mild temperatures with an afternoon high again around 68. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Take your internet service to new levels with Allo, your award-winning internet provider across our fiber hoods. Allo isn't just about the fastest internet available. It's about connecting you to your world, work, and play seamlessly. Our award-winning service ensures affordable, secure, and reliable connectivity, setting us apart. Ready to transform your internet experience? Experience the fiber difference today. Sign up now at allofiber.com. Allo, connecting your world.
Cover more acres with a pre-owned sprayer or planter from Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer. We offer one of the area's largest selections of used sprayers, applicators, planters, and seeders. Through the month of March, take advantage of fixed-rate financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver. Visit your local Landmark Implement location or view our complete sprayer and seeding inventory online at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust, member FDIC.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. You're home for always 72-degree weather and no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for the Masters in April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf. If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Early break with Sip and Jake.
Simply at dinner.
Yeah, you did seem a little rattled, not terribly, but a little.
So
he doesn't relax very well.
No,
he does. Jake's not very relaxed.
This did come up during the game when things weren't going well. I'm in agony. It's like watching yourself die. That's what it felt like.
That was during the game.
During the game, I have the text.
It felt like
circled.
Yeah, it felt like watching yourself die in that arena. Basically, Nebraska, you have 98 points. Should have been 120 essentially, but they give 98 points.
Early break with Sip and Jake from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
People are driven by the search for better, but when
a show. All right, if you didn't know, we don't call it Big Ten Show. It's the Big Ten Show. And here's why, if you didn't know already. Plain and simply, Ohio State. Why isn't it just Ohio State Buckeyes or University of Ohio State, just like University of Nebraska, University of Colorado, University of Rhode Island? No, they're the Ohio State. Whatever. Actually, I got a lot of respect for Ohio State, but that's why we are the Big Ten Show. And actually, originally, we were going to be the Big Ten football show. But ladies and gentlemen, we love to talk all sorts of sports here. We have guests from all sorts of genres and sports and backgrounds and histories. Okay, I grew up playing about a bajillion different sports, club sports, all the way through high school. I've coached them for umpteen years now. No, not like college or NFL or anything. Okay, but we love all sorts of sports. We talk Big Ten and honestly a lot of national sports too. Okay, we love national sports, I was going to say national football, not the National Football League, but football from across the nation here on the Big Ten Show. I'm your host, Adam Carriker. All right, first of all, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, the Jacobson Seed Company. They are your healthy hybrid advantage, and I've gotten to know these folks just a smidge. Okay, they're really good people. They do a really good job. Check them out at jacobsonseed.com. All right, ladies and gentlemen, got a lot of basketball to talk about today. And I'm going to start, well, actually, if you can see my shirt, all right, if you can't see me because you're only listening, all right, my shirt says Snow Buddy Sled Dog Adventures. Now, we were on spring break last week, and we tend to go to Steamboat a lot for Christmas break or spring break. We love to ski. I've got kids who've skied and snowboarded, blacks on both. I got a 6-year-old who's been skiing on her own for a while now. Okay, I grew up not skiing a ton, okay, but every once in a while. And so we love to go skiing as a family. But we're probably not going to go back to Steamboat for a while because we've done it quite a bit. And we want to start to expose the kids to different things, go different places for vacations and whatnot. So this is really our last trip to Steamboat for who knows how long. And so we wanted to do something unique, something different. So my wife's looking up all these little excursions and whatnot. And, we've done quite a few of them. But we have 2 dogs at home, okay? And if you enter my house, my mini Aussies, they'll eat you alive. They're real guard dogs. No, they'll yip you to death, and then they'll want you to pet them to death. That's about all. But my kids love dogs, and not many people get to go dog sledding. So my wife found this dog sledding, adventure thing, kind of out in the middle of frickin' nowhere. Let me tell you, there weren't even bathrooms when we pulled up to. Now, to be clear, the people do a great job. I want to be clear about that. But it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And who actually gets to go dog sledding with actual dogs, and your kids get to do it. My kids love dogs. So anyways, I put a picture out on social media of my family and I dog sledding. First of all, I put it in the post. I felt really bad for the dogs who had to pull me. Okay. And then the lady in charge actually put my wife and I together. And obviously we're the 2 biggest people in our family right now. And so she had like all the biggest dogs all in one sled. And I still felt bad for those dogs, especially when we were going uphill. We were supposed to run alongside them at certain points going uphill, and I did my best, but I ain't in the best shape. So I didn't do it for as long as I probably should have. But the kids had a blast. Our 8-year-old twins, our 6-year-old, who probably loves dogs the most, obviously our 12-year-old, 11-year-old, etc. Okay, actually our 12-year-old got to drive, which was pretty cool. Our younger kids got to have a sled to themselves with a guide who was driving. My 6-year-old and 8-year-olds were not driving, but they were on the sled by themselves with a guide. They thought that was pretty cool. So it's kind of a little fun adventure that we did out in the middle of frickin' nowhere, out in Timbuktu, the mountains of Steamboat, Colorado, out in the backwoods, and it was kind of cool. And now that was not the first time that my wife and I had actually done dog sledding. We'd actually done it about 10 years earlier. The kids were so young, 3/4 of them weren't even here, and the ones who were here couldn't remember. And my memory of that was it was a different place that we did it, and the people were not as organized. And we're going around corners, and my dogs kind of took off. It's really not that hard to do. They're going about 10 to 12 miles an hour. They actually listen really well. You got some basic commands, okay? It's really ready, hike, okay, tells them to go. And easy, whoa, tells them to slow down. And then ha-ha means turn left. GG means turn right. I forget what go straight was. I figured if we were already going straight, why do I have to tell you to go straight? Really simple commands. But we're going around the corner about 10 years ago, the first time we did the dog sledding when 3/4 of my kids weren't here, and my dog sped up. And I don't know, whatever I did wasn't working because that sled about tipped. It was like millimeters from tipping over sideways and going flopping down the side of this big, gigantic mountain. Luckily, that did not happen. Okay, in the more recent dog sledding trip, there was no such adventurous occurrences. Very safe, very fun. Kids had a blast. All right, that explains the shirt that I'm wearing. Okay, if you could see it on YouTube or anywhere else, so you can see this video. If you're on sound-only podcast platforms and or the radio, wherever you're listening to this, hopefully fine program in your opinion. That explains kind of our recent adventures in one of my most recent social media posts. The kids had a blast. In fact, my 12-year-old daughter, Addison, she's like, I want to be a dog sledder now growing up. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Iron Will. It's from like the mid 90s when like the Little Giants came out and Little Big League and The Sandlot and all these great youth sports movies came out. Check out Iron Will. It's a great Disney movie from the mid 90s, back when Disney movies were pretty good. No disrespect to current Disney movies now, although I don't know how that's not a little bit of a slam. But my point is this. I've never heard anybody else talk about it. It's like an underrated film. Go check it out. All right, let's talk a little bit of basketball. We're going to start out with Caitlin Clark. Now, the all-time, as you know, NCAA scoring leader has had a couple of interesting occurrences early on so far in this NCAA tournament. Okay, in the most recent game versus West Virginia, she appeared to yell, and I somewhat quote, "Shut the F up." End of the somewhat quote. All right, while looking out at the home crowd in Iowa City, I might add. Now, ESPN cameras captured Clark and her teammates riled up on the court after what appeared to be a foul called on the 8-seeded West Virginia Mountaineers. Obviously, as you know, the Iowa women's basketball team is the number 1 seed. A number 1 seed, not the number 1 seed. That's South Carolina, who is just stomping a mud hole in everybody and walking it dry right now. They've won their 2 games so far in the NCAA tournament by over 90 combined points. And the last team they played was North freaking Carolina. And I know the men are historically a little bit better at basketball at that school than the women, but the women are always really good too, historically, no matter what. The tradition I'm talking about. They just stomped a mud hole in them and walked it dry, and it was not pretty, ladies and gentlemen. South Carolina is really freaking good, but Iowa is a number 1 seed in the women's NCAA basketball tournament. Now, Clark is a great player, and she's actually a great passer. She's known for scoring, but she leads the NCAA in assists, over 1,000 assists in her career too. Set all these records for scoring points, but she has records in assists as well, and rebounds. She's pretty good at rebound, all-around player. Okay, but she's had a couple of interesting occurrences so far in the NCAA tournament, from yelling what appeared to be "shut the F up" at the home crowd in Iowa City in their last game versus West Virginia to, I believe it was their first game of the tournament. Okay, she's basically yelling at her dad during the game, and her dad complaining about the refs. She seems to be complaining about the refs an awful lot. And her dad basically from the stands appeared to tell her to shut up, which I freaking loved. Okay, now several people have called out Caitlin, who, to be clear, I've spoken about her multiple times before. I got nothing but respect for her. Love her game, love her unselfishness, love her skill, love her ability. Okay, she's probably going to go to the WNBA. She's going to be an immediate impact player. She might be the best player. That's tough to say, even though she'll be a rookie. Anytime you're going to be a rookie. But before she's said and done, she's probably going to be the best player in the WNBA at some point as well. So I got nothing but respect for her. But I have been kind of disappointed in some of the conductorial, I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to say it is, conductorial actions so far in the 2 games throughout the NCAA tournament this year. Okay. Now, just some of the tweets I saw are as follows. Every time I turn on the TV, Caitlin Clark seems to be whining and moaning. Okay, another one. I can't stand watching Caitlin Clark anymore. Another one says, I can't stand watching Iowa women's basketball because of Caitlin Clark. So, social media, everything's fact-based, 100% accurate. Can't ever argue with it. Everybody on, the internet is 100% fair. Nobody's in any way, shape, or form a keyboard warrior ever. So keep that in mind when we're talking about these things. Now, here are my thoughts on this. Because I see both sides of the coin here. I know, at least to a degree, probably not Caitlin Clark level, what it's like to be analyzed. At least you feel like to the nth degree. What it's like to have everything watched. Like when I was a rookie at the Rams, first round pick, my first practice, okay? Rookie mini camp. So it's like April, I think. All right. And it's just, I forget how many rookies there were of us, maybe 20, something like that, with all the free agents, whatever there was. I think we had enough to go 11 on 11, so probably 22 or whatever. Actually, there were some older guys who were asked to come to the camp with us, and they weren't very thrilled about that. So I forget how many total rookies there were in our class, plus the free agent rookies, et cetera, et cetera. And the first drill we ever did was just hitting bags, something I've done since middle school, okay? And there's 15 people out there in suits watching me, the first round pick. And I'm not talking just regular nice suits. I'm talking like, these are like $10,000 3-piece suits. There's like a dozen men, 3 women who are in like Hillary Clinton type fancy pantsuits. Okay. And I'm just hitting the bag. And I remember thinking, wow, these people are all over me, and this is really freaking weird. And to be clear, Caitlin Clark, the level of scrutiny that she's under far exceeds me. You got to keep in mind, Facebook had just kind of started. Okay, I don't think Twitter was a thing. Maybe it was. I was still making fun of tweet at the time. Then it became acceptable. I mean, I don't think Instagram was around. MySpace may have still been a thing. Definitely no tickety talk at the time, so to speak. Ha ha. Okay. So the scrutiny that she's under far exceeds anything that I've experienced, but I do know a certain level of experience. And so I know how challenging that can be. That being said, you can't be constantly complaining like this.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
It's getting nicer outside, but it's still hit or miss in the spring on golf weather. Not at Double Eagle Golf. Your home for always 72-degree weather and no wind. Book a bay with some friends for a weekend or come by for golf and happy hour on a weekday. Spring leagues are underway, but stay tuned for info on indoor golf tournaments and book your bay for the Masters in April. That's all at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Online at doubleeagle.golf.
Cover more acres with a pre-owned sprayer or planter from Landmark Implement, your local John Deere dealer. We offer one of the area's largest selections of used sprayers, applicators, planters, and seeders. Through the month of March, take advantage of fixed-rate financing as low as 3.9% for up to 60 months or a 12-month interest waiver. Visit your local Landmark Implement location or view our complete sprayer and seeding inventory online at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard, increase security, and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
You're listening to Adam Carriker on The Ticket on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's not acceptable. It's not okay. It's not cool. It's not the way it should be. It's not setting a good example for anyone who's watching the games, for any little girls, for any kids, for anybody in the stands. As an Iowa fan, I would be frustrated if I was an Iowa fan. So for me, it reminds me of youth sports. I got 6 kids. Okay, all my kids are on 3 teams right now. So yeah, that's legit. 15 different teams we're a part of. My wife and I coach several teams. Okay, and not 15. It's 15 because we have twins. So they are basically on the same teams. Otherwise, it would be 18 teams. But it's 15 because we have twins. And so we see all sorts of whining and complaining and moaning and everything else. And when I watched her over the weekend, I actually root for her, okay, because I actually like her all-around game. And I liked that when Angel Reese mocked her in the national championship game last year, had like 10 million viewers or something, she took in stride. She said turnabout's fair play because she had done it earlier in the tournament, I believe, to Louisville. Caitlin had. She's like, hey, turnabout's fair play, so to speak. She didn't make a deal of it. And I actually loved that and I respected that. Okay. Basically, if you give it, you got to be able to take it, which a lot of people are not in this day and age. Okay. But it's still unacceptable. It reminds me of a little kid at a youth sports game throwing a fit on an early Saturday morning. Okay. And it's just not cool. And it's not setting a good example. It's hard to watch. It's not fun to watch. Now, again, kind of going back to the immense pressure and scrutiny that she's under. It was funny. I was driving my son, Jacob, who's 14, okay, to his baseball practice yesterday. And he goes, Dad, you ever notice really famous people don't tend to live long? And for whatever reason, he brought up names like Michael Jackson, etc., Elvis, some of the biggest names in history, not just your run-of-the-mill celebrities. And we were just kind of chatting about how hard that is to constantly be watched and scrutinized, and the pressure and the demand, and how it's not normal, and how it is harder on an individual and a person. Okay, I'm not wishing death or ill on anybody, to be clear. This is just a conversation that he brought up to me, that he noticed, okay, as a 14-year-old. And so what I'm getting at is if you're a person like Caitlin Clark, who's under immense pressure, immense scrutiny, far more than any other woman in women's basketball today, even Mulkey, the LSU coach, who just brought a bunch of attention to herself, okay, by calling out what is going to be a Washington Post article in the near future. And I understand there's something to be said for getting ahead of the story, because when you're playing defense in the eyes of the public, it's hard. It's much better to play offense. But I could argue that Mulkey also brought a lot more attention to an article that would have got some attention, but now it's going to get a ton of attention. My point is, Caitlin Clark is still analyzed and scrutinized more than her, okay, even at this moment in time. So when you're an extreme competitor, some of the worst sports I've ever met in my life are the most competitive people I've ever met. I was a horrible sport as a kid. Chess, checkers. I cheated to beat my mom and sorry. Like, I was a terrible sport. Luckily, I believe I was able to keep that competitive drive, but kind of grew up a little bit. Okay. So when you're scrutinized, you got that pressure on you. You're an insane competitor, like she clearly is. There's both sides to this coin. It's still not acceptable, and it's still not okay. And her dad needs to yank her aside and tell her to shut the F up and stop complaining so much. But I do understand the people. She's a human being too. So I see both sides of the coin. I'm not trying to walk the fence in any way, shape, or form. Anybody who listens to me on a regular basis knows I don't do that. I'm simply saying I understand how it can be 10,000 times harder on her, so to speak, than it is maybe someone who isn't scrutinized 1/1,000,000th as much, however that math works, but it's still not acceptable. All right. Now, it's interesting. I've actually had this article ready to talk about on this show every week for about 3 to 4 weeks, and I'm finally going to get to it. Okay. So Cheryl Swoops, freaking legend. Okay. A while back. Okay. She apologized at one point, but then said some other things after that as well. Okay. Basically, said a lot of things about Caitlin Clark. Now, the 52-year-old former WNBA star and legend Cheryl Swoops, okay, went viral on social media a while back, basically talking about how Clark is a 25-year-old beating up on young kids. Not literally, but like in a basketball sense, which is inaccurate because Clark is 22. She said that Clark takes, and I quote, about 40 shots a game, end quote, which is not even close. She actually takes 22.3 field goal attempts per game for the season. Okay. 19.7 attempts for her entire career. So not even 20 attempts, not even half of what Swoop said. And the all-time Division I scoring leader, Clark, it's interesting because she's going to get a lot of this in the future. She's going to get a lot of it in the WNBA. I'm curious to see how she assimilates to a WNBA locker room in the future. She's the type of player that you build a locker room around, not just personnel-wise, but culture-wise, because there is going to be a lot of scrutiny. You got to have the right teammates around her in order to be able to handle that. Now, again, there was a lot of what felt like extreme negativity from Swoops towards Clark. There was also a lot of inaccurateness, okay? She did apologize for some of it, okay? And then she kind of followed up a little bit later on. Rather than pile on, Swoops, who briefly acknowledged on social media she was mistaken about the scoring record, but didn't walk everything back. She didn't apologize for everything. Now, here's some of Swoops, the absolute legend, by the way, her other thoughts, and I quote, will Caitlin Clark be a good pro? Absolutely, Swoop said. Will Caitlin Clark come into the WNBA and do what she's doing right now immediately? Absolutely not going to happen. Caitlin Clark right now probably takes about 40. Oh, this is the 40 shots thing, a game quote. 40 shots a game. I said that because when she comes to the league, regardless of what team she goes to, that has vets on the team, she probably ain't going to get 40 shots a game. And here's the other thing that you don't want to talk about is the defense. Like, you got to guard somebody. Okay, end quote. So my final thoughts on this, and then we're just going to move to the NCAA tournament, and I'm kind of rank the 16 teams that are left in the Sweet 16. My final thought is this, okay? If you're going to express a strong opinion, be educated. Have the facts. Have things right, okay? And if you're going to apologize for everything. Number one, Caitlin's actually a pretty selfless player. She doesn't take anywhere near as many shots as she was accused of. And she might walk into a WNBA locker room and be the best player in that locker room. We don't know. To definitively say she's not going to do things similar to what she's doing now and definitively say absolutely not is absolutely ridiculous because you don't know. Okay. To me, it feels like there's a little bit more to this. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I can't definitively say because I don't definitively know because I don't definitively have the facts other than what I just read. All I'm saying is when I read this, back when it, 3 or 4 weeks ago came out, it felt like a little bit more than just basketball. And if you're going to express a strong opinion, you can be wrong. This is still America for now, but just have facts that are correct to back up whatever.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for need to hire, you need Indeed.
Your opinion is. Those are my only thoughts. All right. Now, let's talk men's NCAA basketball tournament just a smidge. Here are the 16 teams that are left in the Sweet 16. We're going to rank them really quickly. Okay. Now, of the 16 teams still standing, I thought this was interesting. 14 were in the top 18 of the original 68-team power rankings. Okay. Including the top 7 exactly as they are right now. The exceptions were the pre-tournament number 34 team Clemson, number 47 team NC State. By the way, both ACC teams I might mention. So, as I rank these, okay, the number 16 team heading into the Sweet 16 this weekend for the men, Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, the only thing, there's some teams I'm going to dive into a little bit more. There's some teams I'm going to spend a little bit less time on. When it comes to Alabama, I'm not an Alabama fan. I'm not pro-Alabama, not anti-Alabama. I did get sick of seeing them all the time. Okay, that's just human nature unless I'm a Bama fan, which I'm not. I'm not pro, not anti. Okay, I just got tired of seeing them. So I'm kind of glad Saban's gone, simply because, not that Kalen DeBoer is not good, but there aren't too many Sabans. He's a one-on-one. They're the only collegiate programs to have a football team make the college football program and get into the NCAA Sweet 16. All right, there you go. Whether you like it or not, them's is the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Next up is NC State, number 15. Now, NC State, they may actually end up going to the SEC or Big Ten simply because, and I'll talk about this more in the future in another show, simply because North Carolina is going to go to one of them because the ACC is going to fall apart. Now, there's a small chance that the ACC is going to break off into just a 7-team conference. And that's how they'd make more money. They'd trim the fat, so to speak, and those 7 teams would not go to the Big Ten or SEC, but the 7 teams would get paid the same amount of money as all the ACC teams are getting paid right now. They just get, obviously, twice the pie, probably. And NC State would not typically be one of those 7 teams, except there's a board that has to approve North Carolina going to the Big Ten, the SEC, or leaving the ACC, and there's more NC State people on that board than there is North Carolina people. But I'll talk about that more in the future. The fact of the matter is, NC State's not going to get left behind because of their foothold on that board over NC. But that's a topic for another day. Right now, NC State, I have them number 15 out of the Sweet 6 teams that are currently formed. Next up, San Diego State. Okay. Now, I always find myself rooting for San Diego State every year. I'm not really sure why, other than they seem to always be pretty good at basketball. Okay. I am a fan of small teams getting a chance. I love the Cinderella story. So I always find myself rooting for San Diego State. I remember the Marshall Faulk days. Maybe that helps. I remember when San Diego State played, I think, number 1 Miami. Was it 1991? And there was a big brawl in the stands when they played in football. Maybe those things stick out to me. I don't really know. But I always find myself rooting for San Diego State. Next up, you got the Clemson Tigers. Okay, I believe I have them number 13 here. All right. Kudos to them. Next up, you got Creighton. Now, I'm not going to J-score a ton on this, but this is a team I want to dive into just a little bit because, like Gonzaga, they're a small school that always seems to be pretty good. How they've looked so far? Deep. Not in terms of rotational depth, of course. Creighton doesn't have much of that, and they played all 3 of Baylor, Sherman, Trey Alexander, and Ryan Kalkbrenner for all but a few seconds of the double overtime win over Oregon. But they've looked deep from the field, hitting 10 triples against Akron, 15 more against Oregon. They've sometimes struggled from distance when they played away from Omaha, but they were hot in Pittsburgh last weekend. All right, their bread and butter is 3-pointers. Creighton averages 10.7 made threes per game and is just about unbeatable when shooting at least 30% from long distance. Their Achilles heel, physicality. They're not an incredibly physical team. That's going to be the key to how far they go in the tournament. Can they stay hot? Will they play more physical? All right, next up, the Duke Blue Devils. This is a team that, when it comes to conference realignment, NC State's probably going to be included, and they won't, and that blows my mind. NC State's historically better at football. Football is king. It is what it is. They make the most money. But Duke is such a national power in basketball. Easily one of the top 8 programs of all time, historically, even without Coach Krzyzewski. But they may get left out. They may end up in the Big 12 one day. And I'll get to that in a minute. That Big 12 may ultimately be the best basketball conference in America one day. But next up is Duke. Okay, number 10, I got Illinois. 2 Big 10 teams are left in the tournament. So I figure I should talk about them just a smidge. All right. How they've looked? Pointy. Now, as in they get a lot of points. Okay, the Illini dropped 85 on Morehead State in the first round before a remarkable 89-point performance against a good Duquesne defense in the second round. But what can they do next as the competition gets tougher? Illinois has scored at least 85 points in 10 of their last 13 games. Their bread and butter is relentless offense. Where do they struggle? Perimeter defense. If a team gets hot from 3-point range, they could be in trouble. But if they can limit the opposing team's 3-pointers, the team that won the Big Ten Tournament Championship could surprise some people. If they can't, they'll be in trouble. Next up, Marquette.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNT.